Welcome everybody to Rad Pod and Chill. My name is Heidi Kuda. I am here with High Fidelity and Jim Stewartson. We are an investigative show about disinformation, but not on Friday nights. Friday nights, HiFi gets a little drunk. We talk about the news. We recap our previous episodes.
Is it
Hey
Friday?
Heidi, it's
Thursday. Thursday. You can
I'm
tell
already I'm confused enough, Heidi.
you can you can tell I've had no sleep as per usual. Yeah, it is Thursday nights. So I'm so glad that the first fuck up of the hour was mine. I'll totally fully own it. Yeah, I've had no sleep for all week and 7 years. But I wanted to start with some news about Joe Biden because we don't talk about him enough. And I like the fact that the special counsel investigating his handling of classified material is not expected to bring charges, which makes him, still maintaining his zero indictment status. What I like about that is the front runner of the extremist party, formerly known as the GOP, has like dozens and dozens of indictments and will probably be in prison if we're still a country with rule of law by 2024, which I'm sure will upset a lot of the folks on the Kremlin's payroll, because what are they going to do with themselves? They'll have to find a new avatar, a new useful idiot to promote. Any ideas of who that might be, gentlemen?
There's so many useful idiots. It's hard to pick one.
They were pushing RFK on today on MSNBC as maybe he's not such a fringe candidate anymore.
Like, isn't that a problem? Yeah.
I mean, let me just say something. The absolute explosion of just raw anti-Semitism right now is really, really intense, and there are no longer any euphemisms anymore, right? They've decided to just go ahead and say Jewish people, right? At most, they will use ADL as the euphemism for Jews.
Mm-hmm.
But Elon Musk is out there doing great replacement theory. Tucker and everybody else are just straight going for, it's really true that there's all these rich Jews who are controlling everything and trying to do white genocide. Literally saying this shit out loud, right?
Oh, Jim.
So RFK, if people have been following along, is no better. Jews who are controlling everything and trying to do white genocide. Who did that?
Me, because I'm trying to remember to retweet and
got it.
So so I will own the fuck ups today.
No worries. We all got them. And RFK, if people recall, tweeted 1488, which is a signal to Nazis.
Yeah.
Heil Hitler and the 14 words to our white children is what it means. And the Nazis picked it up and put his face on signs and took him to Disney World to wave around with fucking swastikas.
Yeah.
So look, I've been screaming for a long time that we're looking at the Fourth Reich, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying it for fucking years now that all of the signs, all of these preparations, all of this stuff has been moving us in this direction. We're now at that place. We are at the place where the world decides, are we going to allow these forces of evil to use once again a tiny population of people who have done nothing whatsoever to deserve the scapegoating they've gotten. Once again, we are in a place where the world has to decide for Jewish people whether they get to live or not. So my grandparents were Jews. They came over from Russia to pogroms. I told that story before. I'm not Jewish. I'm a white guy. but I feel a very, very deep connection to my ancestry. And I am not ready to go down that road again. I fucking refuse. And I want to tell everybody who hates watching this show right now, who spends their fucking time attacking people who are trying to do good work, why don't you redirect your attention to the fucking Nazi world war that we're currently fighting? Unless that's what you want.
Mute yourself, HiFi. Go ahead, Jim.
If it is what you want, fucking say so. Own it. But stop playing games. This is not a joke.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's been a lot boiling up. There's a lot of bullshit going on out there. There's a lot of just cruel, angry, stupid shit going on right now. And in the meantime, atrocities are happening. Tens of thousands of people are dying. Get the fuck out of your own head. Figure out where we are. This is real life. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, so you came out the gate all fiery. HiFi, mute yourself when you're playing with your juice or whatever it is that you're doing. When playing with your juice bottle.
Sorry, I did come out fiery.
No, man.
I'm mad because these fucking Nazis, we've known they were Nazis all along. Yeah. They would use words like globalist, and they'd say Soros, and they'd fuck around with, QAnon, and, instead of the protocols of the elders of Zion. It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
And they're finally just coming out with it. And it's about time that, the rest of the world recognize this for what it is.
Word.
The same people doing the same playbook.
So Ruth Ben-Ghiat explained to me why it's always the same playbook and why they always engage the same groups and gather them up to aim at certain targets, because it's easy. It's like, it's what's worked. It's not original. I refer everybody to go read Strongmen if you're confused about othering, or Jason Stanley's How Fascism Work if you're confused about the importance of victimhood, unreality, all of these things, why conspiracy theories proliferate during the rise of fascism. It's just to be able to control people's minds, and point them in a certain direction. And I believe that Putin's been winning this round of the information war, and that's because, as Ann Nelson says, nobody is defending us from the porous frontier where these hostile attacks are taking place, and that is the internet. And I'm sure for those who saw our interview with Alex Alvarova or listened to the podcast that Jim and I did at Very Dangerous, you'll learn that none of the techniques are new. The stuff that we're being assaulted with daily and the abusive nature of this type of psychological warfare, there's templates that go back decades. And she brought up the techniques inspired by the KGB that were deployed in East Germany under the Stasi, called Zersetzung, which means like decomposing, because the whole idea is to get people literally to decompose their mental health, their family life, their work life, everything, to doubt themselves, all as an attempt to silence journalists, dissidents, people who are politically active against, in this case, it was their government. What's very important to know is how cheap it is to get people to do this work. In East Germany, estimates where they had maybe 500,000 people doing it. That's one country of people who would sell out their neighbors, their family, their friends, people they don't know, people that they were directed to target. And we know from studying St. Petersburg's operations in the Philippines, sometimes it's because people, literally you know, can't feed their family, as in the case of some of the Philippine trolls that I investigated. But in America, where there's options, you have other things that you could be doing, other ways that you could flip a buck. To be one of those people that are actually just, you know, 14, 20 hours a day, like just targeting people for like, I don't know, per tweet or whatever. It's kind of tragic. It's like, wow, you know, what did you do during the Great Information War, Dad? Oh, yeah, I targeted journalists and dissidents to try to make them break down and stop doing reporting. Like, you know,
you know who else did this?
Sad.
You know who else did this very, very well? Scientology.
Interesting.
Scientology in the 1970s had a number of operations designed specifically to make people go insane, literally
Wow.
to make them go insane, in exactly the same ways that the Stasi would do it. They would fuck with people, they would turn their friends, right? So Scientology has a long history of, once if you leave, you're going to get punished and publicly, and it's going to be as painful as they could possibly make it, right?
Wow.
And so a lot of the formers out of Scientology, you know, they're basically Zersetzung victims. One other story about a Scientology operation that I think is valuable to know. In the 1970s, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it was an operation that had up to 5,000 different people who were deployed into the government in order to fuck with IRS agents. And the reason was Scientology was getting threatened to have their nonprofit status taken away. And so their retaliation was to send 5,000 people out into the government and society to fuck with IRS agents, very much like the Stasi did. And what was the result? The government caved. They were like, if you take these people away, then we'll give you your fucking nonprofit back.
Oh my God.
That happened in the 70s. Good times. So none of this stuff is new. You know, it's been around for a long time. But Jesus Christ, man, I don't care where you live, who you are. You know, if you really looking to you know, make a difference out there, you know, come on.
Come on, man.
This is a real thing. We got 1 year.
Yeah.
If we don't get this right in the next year, if we don't stem the tide of this in the next year, we're done. This country is not going to have another election of the type that we've grown accustomed to for 2.5 centuries.
I'm just smiling because it's like I have something to say, but it's like, is HiFi going to chime in now, or do you want me just to keep on going and you can just think your thoughts and share them with us?
I'm just thinking my thoughts, man. I'm getting
cool.
primed.
Okay, good, because there's so much I want to talk about. One of them is that when I was writing my Alex Jones investigation for my American Monster series, some of the people who were radicalized by him were literally in a hate cult. Like that was their community. Their community was like a hate cult. And much like addiction, it's going to be up to them to get out of it. Like they're going to have to figure out how they're going to get out of it. So Jim, your lighting just went all cockamamie. There you are.
Yeah.
You're
into
back.
The shadows, he went into the shadows.
It was very film noir.
Heidi, yeah. just remember when you're fighting addiction, the first thing you have to remember, you know, like nothing's going to work until you admit you have that addiction, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, here's the thing though: the high level people who are like Putin's pimps in America, Putin's generals, Putin's proxies, whatever you want to call them. I do really think, because I watch most of the stuff on mute. I read everything. I don't like to. I'm, you know, because of my post-traumatic news syndrome, I prefer to look at video on mute and read the text. If you just look at them, they all do look like they're starring in their own hostage videos. And another one of Putin's high-ranking military officials was found dead, he and his wife again. And if you look at all the generals who've either been murdered, shot out of the sky, died of mystery deaths, it's like, I really think that there's probably some fear. But as Martin Shields says, be the first in line to, cop a plea, because basically you'll get the best deal. So I don't think anybody who's been a traitor, high-level trader in America, forget the low rent people, I'm talking about the high level. I really do think that, they know one way or another they're not getting out of this. So be the first in line to, cut yourself the best deal, like some of the Gangland 19 did in Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I'm getting. I just counted the other day. Get on 1,200 fucking days of this straight.
Brother.
And I'm fucking tired of. I'm just tired. I'm tired.
I got you.
I'm tired of waiting for the wheels of justice to grind and whatever the fuck kind of
metaphors we can come up with.
Grind. In the meantime, you've got the people who did this doing it still in public right now in front of us.
Yeah.
And we're just fucking ignoring it.
Yeah.
Ignoring it because we've fallen for 7 or 8 years of just psychological trauma that you can't go near some subjects, right? We're a whole thread today. You can't go near psyops. You still can't go near Russia. You still can't go near Mike Flynn. You can't go near these topics. Why is that? Because they make it really fucking painful.
Yeah.
In the same way that the Soviets enforced their rule. We are in a situation that I don't know. I am so tired of sitting here taking these fucking bullets while our government, our military just lets it happen.
Not even acknowledging the war.
Doesn't even recognize.
Yeah.
Sit there and watch this.
That right there. They know it's going on. They see it. They fucking engage.
Happening to their own.
They're on Twitter.
It's happening to their own family members. They know.
Yeah.
They know.
And not a single one of them has said this needs to stop. Where is the leadership? Where is the backbone? Where's the fucking guts?
I don't know, HiFi. We've never known the answer to that. We're just going to keep pushing and keep exposing and keep doing the work. And Jim, just for the record, I tallied up my days on November 11th. It was 2,611 days plus whatever it is now. So I'm tired too, babe. That's why I don't know what day it is. One thing I wanted to say is that Erik Prince was in court today. And so I unlocked my Erik Prince American Monster. I think it was number 10 for anybody to read at Betty Dangerous, because I think it's really important that we know who some of these people are that may not be on the front pages of all this stuff all the time. There it is. You guys know how sinister this person is, and the fact that he was actually in a court of law and I believe today, Austria, maybe by now it was yesterday, is really freaking important. And it also relates to a little bit close to home too, Jim, right? Because we know some of the same people.
Well, yes, there's also a bit of news.
You can ignore me. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a bit of news about
yes.
So in Nevada, as people may recall, Nevada was one of the swing states in which they had a fake electors scheme. The lawyer in charge of the fake elector scheme is now being investigated by the Nevada Attorney General. His name is Jesse Pinnall, and he's suing me and others for $50 million for Mike Flynn.
Yeah.
So, FAFO, Jesse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's see how good are you juggling? How good are you multitasking, champ?
Doesn't he also represent the Libyan warlord ensnared in all of this
Yes.
subterfuge with Erik Prince?
So Erik Prince was, in fact, selling arms to Libyan warlord Khalifa Haftar. And so was, by the way, Wagner. Wagner and Erik Prince were on the same side in the Libyan Civil War.
That's so weird.
Isn't that weird? Weird.
So weird. I see seashells by the Seychelles.
Well, I mean, you know,
come on, man.
Bogosian ran the Internet Research Agency, which was pushing Pizzagate and WikiLeaks and all that fucking bullshit in 2016. Who was pushing fucking WikiLeaks and all of that? Erik Prince and Mike Flynn. It's not complicated.
Word.
It's all of these people. It's all the same people. Anyway, Erik Prince got racked up in Austria, and I don't know if he had to show up in court or not.
He did. He did.
Good.
He did. Wendy Siegelman's keeping tabs on that. So anybody go to Wendy Siegelman. Yeah.
You know.
So before we show our first clip of Alex Alvarova and our incredible interview with her, which was just so, God, she's so amazing. I love her so much. I do want to give a shout out to my girl, Jackie Singh, because she did the best scholarship on the type of warfare that we are not talking about at the leadership level in America. And it was the SLAP or SAP. It's her most recent Substack. I'll go ahead and retweet it right now so people can see what I'm referencing. But she is just, for those who haven't seen our interviews with Jackie, she was the Biden 2020 campaign's lead threat analyst, and she is InfoSec, essentially. But what she really is a tenacious warrior who goes all in to fight against internet terrorism. And the fact that she was, the fact that she's a veteran, I think kind of gives her a bit of tenacity and moxie that we don't always see. But I'm going to bring up her post right now and retweet it so people can read it for themselves. I had to do a long thread on it because I just couldn't believe that she put words to our fight. I mean, oh my God. Jim, I'm sure you read it, right?
Yeah. Yes, I of course. Yeah, Jackie is, she's amazing. She's way more amazing than she even lets on.
I know. She's so humble. She's so humble.
A lot of really, really amazing work behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So
it's just literally an incredible. Here we go.
Are we finding something?
I just want to say the title of it's hackingbutlegal.com, and the title of the report I'm referencing is From SLAP to SAP, Evolving Tactics in Silencing Public Voices, in which I propose we coin new terminology. And she does. She coins incredible new terminology, and her acronym SAP is kind of the beginnings of that. So I'm just so damn grateful for her. In fact, why don't we, while we're on the subject, I will just talk about what she proposes. Strategic attacks against public participation, SAP, SAAPP. And that is kind of her play off of SLAP, which is, as you know, the type of lawfare that people who don't want to be exposed as criminals utilize to try to silence critics. That's been going on for quite some time. So with that, shall we see our first Alex Alvarova clip? Do you have it handy, HiFi?
So they invented a sophisticated method how to get rid of the critics of the regime in an invisible way, without any trial, without put them to jail, without killing them, torture them. And they just employed secret agents who, for example, in the night, they went to your apartment and stop the clock working, that you didn't wake up in the morning and you were late to your job, or to such a detail. So they worked on it, and they based everything what they did on psychological profiling of your personality. So they were never the same like mirroring methods. Every single individual was targeted based on his weaknesses. They tried to find your vulnerabilities. What's your weak spot, and to hit the weak spot, to dismantle you, to cause your trauma, to deprive you of your social capital, and to make you an outsider no one ever will talk about again.
Sounds familiar.
Zersetzung. So
yeah, they make you nuclear, right? They
radioactive.
Spread all kinds of junk into the atmosphere, and eventually some of it sticks. There's good people out there who believe all kinds of stupid shit. That because they've been lied to.
Yeah.
And I mean, not just in general, but about us in particular. It's really it's very, very personally painful to know that people that you care, that you respect, think shitty crap about you. It's a really pernicious
it is thing. The reason that I feel like I believe truth always wins eventually. It's a matter of how soon. Like, investigate harder, investigate faster. When you talk about these investigations that are happening, investigations of Leonard Leo or the lawyer suing you on behalf of Flynn, it's like, investigate faster, investigate harder. Let's see some activity moving toward justice. I do think that truth ultimately. So I bring up the fact that truth ultimately prevails, and not before probably, all kinds of, trouble can happen in the interim. But when the Berlin Wall fell and Zersetzung techniques were exposed, and the 170,000 people employed to do this type of work of assaulting psychologically journalists and dissidents, and the 500,000, sort of allies that they had doing the work here and there. I think what's really important is that the victims, the 10,000 victims, all got pensions. They all got paid. You can't take back what was stolen from you emotionally and the trauma that you've been through. But like we did in the New Deal, they could certainly do more than they're doing now, which is absolutely nothing. People get victimized and they do nothing. Our leaders' family members. Hillary Clinton was, the first candidate in my mind virtually assassinated, and nothing's been done. There's been no recourse. Yes, HiFi. I see you thinking big thoughts.
Not really big, but I would like to claim that there is a bittersweet win today, because David DePape, the man who assaulted Mr. Pelosi with a hammer, he was found guilty, and it was a short deliberation. And that's good. That's a win for the rule of law. But that's a loss for humanity, because David DePape is broken. And there's a reason he's broken. And that reason is staring us in the face day after day, week after week. And we sit with, no, it's fine.
Well, we sit
and
with
the bodies
New York
pile up.
With New York Times doing headlines that delete the fascism. I mean, let's just call it what it is, right?
Can I say something about DePape?
Yeah.
So there's been some stuff out there about how he's right wing or MAGA or whatever. It's not true. Not true. He was a nudist in Berkeley, with the most famous nudist, in Berkeley, a woman that I, saw a long time ago. I lived back there, and he was just some weird hippie. And guess what happened? Gamergate. So he was a video gamer. He played video games when he wasn't walking around naked or whatever, and got sucked into the vortex of misogyny and went down the entire rabbit hole all the way to Holocaust denialism, etc. But all the way kind of going in through the left side of the neo-Nazi pipeline. But I bring that up just because it's easy to think of these people as, as a monolith. Like he's just another, white supremacist chud. He's not the same as all the others. They're all different from each other.
Yeah.
But I want to emphasize the lineage from Gamergate, from this sort of seminal misogynistic cult, 9 years ago now, that set off an entire chain of events that led not only to David DePape, but a lot of this stuff. It was the Nazism, the fascism, the conversion to white supremacy from misogyny all happened during Gamergate. Because Steve Bannon, Breitbart, Milo, they came in, they saw a radicalized population of angry, misogynistic group of white boys with Nazi tendencies. And they said, that's what we need to amplify. And that's what they did. And then comes Richard Spencer and Jack Posobiec and Mike Cernovich and all the rest of them. And Bob's your uncle, you got the alt-right. And then you get Charlottesville, you get January 6th, and you get what you see today, which is just blatant, outright Nazis.
Yeah. Well, finally, some of the media is calling it that after 7 fucking years. I tweeted out a picture of myself holding up a sign from November 12th, 2016, when I first marched after the election, on the first Saturday after the election. I think is 11/12. We do not accept a fascist America. It's like, it was so clear what it was. Still very, very clear to me what it is. And we still have media, some of it softballing it and some of it actually waking up. Some people getting a little bit less timid about their words. And how could they not when the anti-Semitism from Putin's people in America is so incredibly blatant and loud?
Well, that's the thing. There's no, it's just not there's no dog whistles or any of that stuff. You remember like all the memes, like everything you don't like is Hitler. They would have those memes and make fun of the lids, right? And we saw the Nordic rune, that was the CPAC stage, right? And we were like, what the fuck? Why is there Nazi rune? What's going on? And they're like, lids are funny, haha. None of it is accidental. It's never been accidental.
No.
Right? It's a process. And the fact that Pepe or whatever was a frog is a good analogy, because we're the fucking frog in the boiling pot, right?
Right.
It goes from, we're just joking around. We're just joking around with the white supremacy, right? And then it becomes, more ironic, and then I'll stop being such a lib, and then, it is a process. It is a stepwise process, and at some point, we're going to recognize it. The only question is when.
Right.
We recognize it before or after.
Right.
The atrocities come here.
So I'm going to tell you a little story about somebody who thinks Robert Kennedy Jr. is a viable candidate, and had, always been a registered Republican. I'm always just trying to gather intel. I'm just trying, Dr. Hassan, as Alex Alvarova was saying, has taught us that we must love broken people, right? We have to do our best to love broken people. Sometimes they're in our own, families, close associates, but it's an important story because I noticed people really focusing on Israel and not Ukraine. So I asked somebody, why do you think it is that people are focusing on Israel and not Ukraine? And the answer was, we've already given them so much money and we haven't done enough for Israel. And those poor Russians. And I was like, and the thing is, I just listen. I've already explained over and over again about Putin having an arrest warrant for war crimes and for trafficking children, because usually people care about children, but there's cognitive dissonance going on. And I sent a little mini report to Timothy Snyder. I hope he got it, because I want him to have the intel, because there's targeting going on with older Republicans who are being told Kennedy's their guy because clearly Trump's a disaster, right? And that Biden's shady because of Hunter Biden's laptop, 3 words, right? And if you say to them, what about Kushner? They're like, who's that? So my point is, like, we who study this, we who know a lot, it's really important to listen, because then it's like, okay, I see what information they're getting, what they're not getting. And we talked about this on Kremlin File yesterday. We have to get our messaging freaking smart and down and fast with truth. And we got to do it fast, because clearly, if that's what older Republicans are being fed, we have a big fucking problem.
I mean, it's not just the Republicans. I mean, the more dangerous constituency they're appealing to is sort of, frankly, undereducated Democrats and independents who are like, I don't like any of these people. I'm going to vote for Kennedy because Kennedy seems safe.
Yeah.
Right? He's been trading off of his name.
I know.
For his entire life. There's a report in the New York Times about all the millions and millions and millions of dollars he made by running around and doing speech after speech after speech for up to $250,000 for that fucking guy to say what? Anti-vax shit? To tell stories about his uncle who he knew for, like a year? Like, what are we doing with this guy? Look, if you want to blue pill somebody about RFK, show them a picture from Sandy Bacon of the Nazis in front of Disney holding up an RFK sign with 1488 RFK Jr. and his face on it. Yeah. They heard him loud and clear. They heard him loud and clear.
Yeah.
He was also, I want to remind people, the guy who came up with the Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people were going to, fix the COVID virus so that it didn't attack Jews and Chinese people, which is Jews and communists working together to kill people. That's what Nazis say. It's fucking what Nazis say. Literally. Right. We're just last thing on this fucking guy. Well, 2 more things. One, he did an interview with convicted pedophile Scott Ritter that I have on my Twitter that you should check out because
he deleted it, right?
He deleted it, but I saved it for him. And I can't remember what the other thing was. But anyway,
well, I'll tell you what
he's a worthless sociopath who has never done a thing in his life other than, feed off of his own last name. Oh, that's what it is. Joe Flynn, big fan of RFK. big fan. Mike Flynn, huge fan of JFK and RFK, the real ones. So I've been saying before, and I will say it again, it's speculation, but I think a Kennedy Flynn ticket is where they're currently angling things, depending on whether or not, we finally get Trump in prison. So
thank you. I do hope, my hope is Joe Flynn is the one to flip on his brother at some point, because, he tweeted he tweeted out that really weird tweet about how he's done with the MAGA clown show, loves his brother, loves Roger Stone, but he's done. What's that?
He said, I love my brother, but I'm done with this clown show. And he also said, I'm leaving the MAGA cult.
Yeah. That was a real, I'm hoping that he's having doubts and he's willing to act on them.
I think what's happening is they are broadening, they are hedging their bets.
All right.
The Flynn do not split up in an election year.
All right. Well, I will say that I did. You know how we're not allowed to hold on, HiFi. One quick thing. You know how we're not allowed to, not allowed, but it's not recommended that you hit somebody who has been in a cult with facts, even if it's a political cult. And when I explained about Kennedy, that his closest family members have disavowed him, said that he is literally dangerous to our country, and that's from Kathleen Kennedy, Joe Kennedy, Rory Kennedy, Carrie Kennedy, disavowed him and said how dangerous he is. I could tell when I said it, the words were not being heard. That's how I know that people are in their various political cults. And so I found that to be troubling, to say the least.
I forgot what I was going to say earlier, but I do have something to say about what Heidi just said. If the Kennedy clan truly believes that, RFK Jr. is a threat, clear and present danger to our country, I think they need to get in the media, make a commercial, make sure everybody plays it, make sure it gets known. Their clan is responsible. Their clan is responsible for what's happening. And if they truly want to take responsibility for it, they'll step the fuck up. That's all I'm saying.
And I don't know if you have to make them totally responsible for their weird ass brother who, went rogue or whatever. But yeah, it would be nice if they had come forward sooner than they did. But, at the very least they did. One reminder, just to be fair in our allocation of blame. The Kennedys, Joe Kennedy was close to Henry Ford and Charles Lindbergh and the America First Party. Joe Kennedy was half a Nazi, if not, just the whole shooting match. So that strain of sort of, anti-Semitism and, white supremacy is not exclusively the province of the right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we have a big Vatnik soup problem, that is for sure. And I would suggest everybody go to vatniksoup.com and look up, I think he's number 174 or 176, and learn more about RFK Jr. And also, please watch Disinformed by Dr. Charles Creel and Kat Gallen, because that also is a very important document on how much disinformation. I did also explain to this person who thought RFK Jr. was a viable candidate, because this person's, an Eisenhower Republican. I said, well, gee, if he was president when Eisenhower was president, we'd all still be in iron lungs, because he doesn't believe in vaccines. And that seemed to resonate a little bit more. But let's get off this. And don't we have something on John Sullivan, HiFi?
Yeah, actually, let's celebrate a win. right? This is
You mean Antifa?
Well, it's funny you say that. It is funny you say that
I
because
think that's Antifa.
I need to point something out.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, Mr. John Sullivan, journalist, convicted on all charges. Had a big knife on him. Not cool. Had a big knife on him. Not cool. You may not remember, Mr. Sullivan. Allow me to remind you. This young man here. He's got a look in his eye. Well, here's the thing, though. He comes from a very, very devout conservative family. And he was, he was a second string speed skater, Olympic hopeful, didn't quite work out apparently. And then out of nowhere, he goes from, member of the LDS Church to what you see here, right? This gun-toting Antifa fella. And he was in the Capitol.
I don't think that's
he was in the Capitol on January 6th. And there's just one thing that nobody's pointed out throughout the entire legal debacle of this young man is that Rudy Giuliani was actually texting his brother James. Place total blame on John. Using John as a patsy. It was Antifa. And 226 members.
Wow, that's a specific number. That is a really specific number.
How does he have foreknowledge like that? What's that all about?
And I do want to say in Giuliani's defense, because we like to be clear about these things, that was not a butt dial.
No.
Do you remember when he was just butt dialing every journalist in town?
Yeah.
Oh, man, Giuliani.
He's just got a butt problem in general. Anyway.
Actually, there is another win. There is another win I want to talk about because I do believe in giving credit where credit is due. And IBM pulled all of their advertising off of Twitter.
Ooh.
Boom, we're done. We're out, bro.
Oh.
You're over, Elon.
I mean, I've never.
Hold on. I need to point one thing out, though. I think the reason that IBM is finally coming around is because they learned from the last time they tried to pull this bullshit.
Oh.
And they know what happens.
Damn, HiFi never forgets. It's like, that's the t-shirt I'm going to get. HiFi never forgets. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, look, the only ads I see now are for little vibrators. I saw Amway.
That's not a
Scientology. It's just, I mean, it's like the Israeli Defense Forces does a lot of advertising, which is weird. I don't, sorry guys, but it's weird. Anyway, so I don't know who the fuck in the Fortune 10 million could possibly be putting their money in this shithole platform.
Well, but I do want to say that their CEO, Goebbels and Prada, did say X's point of view has always been very clear that discrimination by everyone should stop in all caps across the board.
She was so brave in that moment. She was so brave. So I replied to her with Elmo's tweet that said, the real problem is all the discrimination against whites and Asians. It's the anti-white. It's all the anti-whites. I'm so sad. And then underneath that was about 6,000 comments from Nazis. White power, yes.
I saw that. I saw that.
I mean, it was just like exploding Nazis everywhere. And he's like, we have to stop. I was like,
gotta suck. It's got to suck. It's gotta suck. All those millions, and that's what you have to do. You have to reputation wash. You know, fascism.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Do you guys remember the slogan, "Nazi punks, fuck off"?
I do, because I have it on my, here it is right here. I'm going to put my finger on it, but I got this at a German record store in 2006, and I keep it near me because it's always like, I never want to forget. So I never forget. But yes, Nazi punks, fuck off. Got it right here.
So the world has changed, right? And if you do a little research on what is cool, you come across this designer who had the idea that what makes things cool is it's an old thing presented in a new way. So people are familiar, but they're surprised by the newness of it. And I think what really fits well is like Nazi cucks fuck off. I don't know.
Just anybody
who's like it works.
Anybody who hates and is trying to destroy empathy, humanity, regardless of where they're targeting the hate, just fuck off. Or reacquaint yourself with your humanity and your goodness. Figure out what's wrong with you and fix it. If you're broken, figure it out, man. What's up?
You know what's funny is there a lot of them are cucks, actual ones. Remember Chris Polehouse?
Oh my God, how could I ever forget? That was the saddest guy ever.
Yeah, Chris Polehouse, for those who don't remember, was the lead Nazi out there on the bridge. They had their like red Dr. Seuss outfits on or whatever, and he had the dude with the face paint, the face tats behind him the whole time. And they anyway. So I found his Telegram channel, and he had 9 subscribers. And on his Telegram channel with 9 subscribers, he cried and cried and cried about how his wife would just go to parties and then just leave with whoever the hell she wanted to. And she was so mean to him, and he was very sad. And also, we're gonna kill the Jews. And my girlfriend, she's real mean to me. Kill the Jews. I mean, it's like the saddest little fuck. It's just like he's got nothing inside. He's an empty vessel of loserness, and all he has to do is scapegoat, somebody he heard from some asshole in the bathroom.
Hold on. My turn, because I have to tell a story real fast. I'm not going to say who, but I am in possession of a video of a member of a popular podcast concerning a certain cult around Mike Flynn, literally starring in a cuckold porn movie. Poorly made, I might add.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know, right? It's insane. But this thing exists. So when we talk about mice, right?
Money,
ideology, compromise, ego, money, huge money, right? Compromise. He doesn't really want this publicized.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of things.
Wow,
it's crazy
HiFi.
when people leave themselves open like this.
Yeah, well, it's also sad.
There's nothing wrong with being a consensual cock. There really is. You can include.
Is that a thing? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Including doing cuck porn. Knock yourself out, guys. It's fine. It's really fine with me. I don't care. I would never kink shame anyone.
I guess my only criticism,
but it does leave a person, if they're embarrassed by their own behavior, open to certain influence.
Indeed.
Okay.
Especially if there's money involved, right?
This is the best place to see Alex's next video, so we can just stop with the cucks for the moment, you guys.
Well, it's funny because they kind of fit into this too, but here.
No, let's hear what Alex has to say.
It sounds like a kid's game a little bit. Troll Farm sounds, it has the nice, cute meaning about some small trolls and something virtual who cannot harm you in real life. So trolls, green trolls popping up everywhere.
Online bullying isn't real.
Yeah.
Trolls when they get angry.
Yeah.
If only we
but
could do that.
The problem is if the psychology of and your soul and your real life is involved, then they can get you to the situation where you can't see, you see no help for yourself anymore. So you are helpless. Your life just starts to crumble. No one knows why. Your resilience shrinks. Your family sees something is happening to you. No one knows really why. Then you suck at work because of mental health issues, and then you have they can arrange for other types of trouble like financial, and then the credibility and everything, all these small tiny hits together aimed at your main weakness where you care at most can get you down. And this is what we say troll farms. It's just coordinated swarms of killers.
Yeah.
Of soul killers.
No, I don't know. We should probably just end right there.
I mean, like,
Alex is awesome. It just has our.
No, I had one more thing I needed to bring up. That's important.
Yeah.
We're seeing something happening right now, right? We're seeing an activation of all sorts of crazy networks around the globe, right? We see people at war. We see violence happening, civilian suffering in Ukraine, in Israel. We see mass shootings happening in the streets of the United States. When I talk about things like infiltration of organizations, right? People don't know that I'm referencing things like this, where, a guy who blamed the Jews for the Holocaust is speaking at the March for Israel. What is going on here? And I would also like to point out that, dang it, sorry. If we remember from the Jerusalem Post, Mike Flynn also blamed the Jews for the Holocaust. I don't understand why people aren't seeing that this is connected. The rise in anti-Semitism globally is fascism making a comeback across the world. And it's not just us and our little podcast, right? It's everywhere. The threats are flying everywhere. People are getting hurt. David DePape is going to prison now for hurting someone because of the soul killers.
Wow.
And I don't know what it's going to take to get people's heads.
I'll tell you what it's going to take. People like us spreading the word. More and more people are waking up to the soul killers and the coordinated effort of it. And that's one thing. Jim in his Hellscape pointed out that as bleak as it sometimes seems, there are more and more allies every single day waking up to what's going on. And we will keep on interviewing people like Alex to make sure that you have an opportunity to see the bigger play.
Well, I hope they get hit before it all comes crashing down.